Hi everyone. Today I am answering a question from a viewer, and that is about how some of the more absolute budget fountain pens write, and they particularly asked about the pens from the Japanese retailer Daiso. So what I have here is I have the three sort of standard Daiso fountain pens that they produce, all come in these sort of basic sort of plastic sleeves, hanging off the rack. Sometimes Daiso do have a slightly more expensive model that resembles the Jinhao X750, but these are the ones that I consider to be the unique to Daiso fountain pens. Now, I have used the cartridges that came with these pens. The blue one in the middle there comes with an extra cartridge. The others just come with one. The Riviere here has a platinum cartridge, or platinum style cartridge. In fact, the pen is actually labelled with platinum, so it is made by Platinum for Daiso. And as far as I can tell, the cartridge for this sort of standard white one, which also comes in silver, and this also comes in a smoky grey. The silver one, the white here, is a proprietary cartridge, so which they do sell, and they also do sell a Daiso branded platinum cartridge as well. What I thought I'd do today is a really simple rundown. I don't want to give stats and measurements and that sort of stuff. These are pens that I use as sort of I wouldn't say throwaway, but disposable pens. When I'm traveling, one of these ends up on my journal, as opposed to taking a pen with me. I just take this on the plane, ink it up, put the cartridge in, and when I'm done with it, I can dispose of it. Or, as I've done many times, hand them on to other people who actually ask about fountain pens and who never use them. More and more, of course, in a modern world, less people understand and know about fountain pens. So it's nice to sort of be able to share that in a way that is very cost effective. These pens, each of them, only costs $2.80 here in Australia. Of course, Daiso is priced differently country to country. In Australia, things are $2.80. These are the standard Daiso price. So, start here. So this is just what they call their cartridge type fountain pen. It is a metal body with a plastic section and a fairly sort of standard medium-sized nib. It does have a slight stubby nature to the nib, which I quite like, and it is quite smooth. It's a light pen, it's a small pen. It's not a... none of these pens are particularly big or fancy. Just for the sake of the exercise, here they are alongside a Lamy Safari. So you see that they're decent sort of length pen. They're not sort of short pocket pens by any stretch, but they are on the smaller side in general. The blue model here, which is labelled as the Hauser, I think, is actually, I find it to be a very interesting pen, and like my daughter loves this pen for one particular reason, and that is that the nib is adorable. So you have here a small nib, and this writes, it's quite fine, and it's sort of a perfectly serviceable, smooth, sort of finish nib, all plastic body, and as I said, they're cartridge pens, so this one can take a standard international cartridge. So if you did like this pen, there's no reason why you couldn't use this with Faber-Castell or Pelican or any of those sort of standard international brands. You could use Mont Blanc ink in this if you desired. You could probably put a converter in. So it's an interesting point with this pen. Now, this one is, for me, it's the least successful in terms of the body of the pen and also with the nib. It's a bit of a scratchy, sort of dry nib in general, and it's quite flimsy a pen. It's very light. You can see here there's a lot of sort of give on that clip, whereas at least with these, the clips are actually quite sturdy. So yeah, this is a much more sort of disposable throwaway pen, and it's the sort of standard nib with plastic section. As I said, it takes a platinum cartridge there, so you could use any platinum ink cartridge, opening up a wide range of colours if you so desired. Issues with this pen that have arisen that I have found is that the plastic here on the barrel does crack, and the section can tend to sort of spin in the body of it. The other issue is the cap, the clip, sorry. It comes out so easily, it's very flimsy, it opens up the nib to air, so it does dry out, but you know, when you're uncapping the pen, if, like me, you sort of sometimes use the clip as a bit of, you know, to sort of get a bit of grip on it, this is not going to be the pen for that. This really is, I think, the problem is I like the look of this pen. I just think, and it's one that I do choose to take with me when I do travel. I have a number of them sitting in a drawer for each of those trips, but it is sort of quite a flimsy pen. So in terms of the build quality, I think the cartridge type one here, I'm only saying that because on the pen, on the packet, they say fountain pen cartridge type. Again, this one says fountain pen Hauser, and then the other one, as I showed you, says platinum cartridge type fountain pen. So that's how I sort of define them in my sort of own collection, if you will. It's the cartridge one is the smallest, but the build quality is by far the best in my opinion, and I actually don't think it's a bad pen. It does have a tendency to dry out a little bit, but you know, you're paying $2.80 for a pen. You're not buying in Australia $50 Lamy Safari, or you know, upwards of $300 in Australia Diplomat Aero. You are buying a $2.80 pen, and I think it actually does a really serviceable job in that range. So now let's do a very quick writing sample. I'll move these out of the way, and I have some Rhodia dot paper here. Let's start with the platinum inspired made pen. So this is very fine. It's, I'm going to say it, it's pretty sort of dry, and you can hear that there's sort of scratchy sort of feedback going on. Now in this writing sample, I'm not going to do things like reverse writing and, you know, flexing it and all that sort of stuff. It's just a chance to show the pens, show what Daiso do, and you can decide if the $2.80 is something you want to invest in for whatever use you might need it for. Then we have the Daiso, and we'll put this on the Hauser. So while it's a fine nib, it's actually much broader than the Riviere there, and it's certainly wetter. And you know, it's actually pretty smooth. Like, you're not getting a Yovo nib, but the fact that you pay so little for this pen, it takes an international, you know, standard converter. It's actually not a bad option. One problem that I've seen with this is that sometimes there can be a bit of ink leakage from around the cartridge. So some ink does end up sometimes in the body of the pen, but it all sort of stays contained, and as long as you are not sort of too rough with it, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. Then we have the cartridge type pen. Now this, as I said, is sort of my favorite of the Daiso pens. It's the small. It is quite small. It feels small in the hand. It does post and all of that sort of stuff. It's, you know, it's quite serviceable. It's a nice looking pen. And this one comes with blue ink. A bit of a skip there, and there too. It could be how I'm writing sort of around tripods and things like that. But you know, this is a lovely sort of smooth, wet nib. And if I'll just do some proper vertical and horizontals there, and you can see there is a slight stubby nature there, which is quite nice. You can't necessarily see it in the handwriting, but you can see it in those cross hatches. So, you know, it's not a bad pen, and there's a reason why some other retailers have taken this pen on as well. It's quite a fine pen, and at this price, it's amazingly good value. So something that's definitely worth looking at. So these were the three sort of standard option pens that you can get from the Daiso store. As Daiso is a Japanese retailer that has international stores, and everything is priced very reasonably. They have a huge range of stuff. Obviously I'm not affiliated with them at all. These come in their stationery sort of section. They have a huge stationery range of ballpoint pens and pencils and mechanical pencils and all that. I like the Daiso stuff, and especially at the price, it's sort of unbeatable. Daiso paper is actually also pretty good for fountain pens if you get the right books. Anyway, this was the fountain pens. Hope you found this video useful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Hit the notifications button if you want to stay up to date with all the videos that I produce. Please feel free to get in touch using any of the platforms listed below. Find me on Instagram and Twitter and all that. I am at @the_offstage_me, all linked down below. Please feel free to get in touch if there are products you think I should be looking at, or questions you've got, or if there's a way you think you might be able to help support this channel. Get in touch and we'll see what we can do. In the meantime, enjoy your pens, enjoy writing, and I'll talk to you later.